Hello and welcome back to my next video on Vedic Astrology. In this video, I'll be discussing about aspects. Aspect is something special to astrology because the English dictionary does not associate aspects with astrology at all. Yet, astrologers all over the world have been using this word aspects, and that is simply another word for looking. So when we say Mars aspects Jupiter, it just means Mars is looking at Jupiter. All the planets, wherever they are, will always look at the seventh house from itself. If the seventh house has got planets, it will look at the planets too. So let us do an example. Take Mars, and if Mars was here, it will definitely look at the seventh house. So from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you can draw a line like this to explain that Mars will look at this house. And if Jupiter were to be here, then it means Mars is looking at Jupiter. Mars aspects Jupiter. For example, if the Sun was here and then say you had the Moon here, the Sun looks at the Moon and the Moon looks at the Sun. This happens on full moon days. The Sun and the Moon aspect each other. The seventh house aspect is therefore very simple. Every planet looks at the seventh from itself. So we now move on to the special aspects. Only 3 planets have special aspects, and these are Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. So let us do the first example with Mars. Mars is over here in this case, or if you want, we'll change it off to here. And from here, where will Mars look at? It will look here always, but this is the seventh house. All planets look here, but Mars, because of its special aspect, will look here too. This is the fourth house aspect. So count from Mars 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then from Mars count 8 houses. Okay. So Mars aspects the 4th, aspects the 7th as usual with other planets, but special aspects on the 8th. So 4 and 8 are the extra houses that Mars will aspect. Now we move on to Jupiter. In this example, Jupiter is over here, and Jupiter always looks like any other planet, the 7th house from itself, but he has special aspect on the 5th house and the 9th house. Remember this by telling to yourself that the 5th house and the 9th house are trinal houses. In Sanskrit, these are called trikonas, and these are always linked to auspiciousness, the 5th and 9th. Since Jupiter is the auspicious planet, he seems to be looking at the 5th and the 9th. Now we look at Saturn. Saturn has special aspect on the 3rd house and the 10th house, apart from the regular 7th house aspect. And the 3rd house is supposed to be the strongest, most negative aspect of Saturn. Now to sum up, let us do an example. So here is a sample horoscope. All planets look at the seventh from itself. So this Jupiter is looking at Mars, and Rahu is looking at Ketu. Ketu is looking at Sun. The Sun is looking at Saturn. All that is very simple because the seventh house aspect is very easy to understand. Now coming back to Jupiter, this Jupiter has the fifth house aspect, and therefore Jupiter is looking at the 12th house and also at Rahu. So this Rahu is being looked upon by Jupiter. The meaning of this is that Jupiter, which is a very good planet, will suppress the bad qualities of Rahu being in the 12th. It also means that Jupiter represents guidance in life, and if this person were to seek the guidance from knowledgeable people from any walk of life, lawyer, astrologer, doctor, a purohit, temples, gods, etc., it means that the negative effect of Rahu being in the 12th can be reduced. Now, there is another problem here because Saturn is also looking at Rahu with his third house aspect, which is a very strong negative aspect. It's very important that this person chooses whether to seek the help of the good and godly people around him, or should he just ignore it, in which case the effect of Saturn's aspect on Rahu will be fully felt. I'm just doing an example here. Now let us get on with the aspects. Saturn looks at the 10th from itself, so Saturn is looking at the 7th house. So for a person like this, since the 7th house is the house of marriage and Saturn is a delaying planet, Saturn aspecting the 7th may delay marriage. I'm just telling these things because you should realize the importance of aspects. And Mars from here will look at this house, which is the 4th from itself. But from the horoscope point of view, it is actually the 5th house. And Mars from here also looks at the 8th from itself, which happens to be the 9th house. So whenever you get a horoscope, you should be able to do this either on a piece of paper or mentally. Otherwise, you're going to miss a lot.